In January 2024, Fabrizio Romano actually revealed to us that Omar Berrada set a standard at Manchester United. It is either you perform within 2 or 1 year in the club, or you leave the club. And it seems like Manchester United are sticking to those words. From André Onana, Rasmus Højlund to Antony, it looks like Manchester United are beginning to make a lot of bold calls. And is this actually what Manchester United should have done for a long while, or is this going to be another frustrating circle for Manchester United? Let's dive into this video together and break all that concerns Manchester United and the strategy that was imposed by Omar Berrada and Ineos in Manchester United. So guys, let's actually break down the Omar Berrada standard. You're going to find out that Fabrizio Romano revealed to us Manchester United last year January. I could remember that Omar Berrada has actually set a rule in Manchester United. If you don't perform within 1 or 2 years, you're going to leave the club. No excuses, no passengers, and there is no need to beat around the bush. Unlike the previous cultural requisition in Manchester United, whereby players is going to stay for 3 to 4 years. Right now, players are judged within 1 to 2 years, and you're going to find out that that particular word is being put into practice. Many players has beginning to leave Manchester United. 20 players has left Manchester United first team over the past 2 windows. That is going to tell that Manchester United has actually brought a new cultural shift, which is actually going to judge players within the first 2 years of their stay in the club. And this is actually very good compared to the last cultural shift that has been implemented in Manchester United, or actually leaving players for very period of time. Players who are staying 3 to 4 years in Manchester United, and instead of them to be sold and to be reinvested in other players, instead they are being renewed. And it was very difficult for Manchester United to move on from this deadwood, and instead Manchester United is going to wait for the expiry with their contracts. You're going to find out that there is a lot of players in Manchester United, even right now, that are supposed to have left Manchester United long ago, but because of the previous cultural shift at the club, it is very difficult to move on from these players. This is going to cause Manchester United to be nursing players that are not long-term plans of the project. So we are going to dive in and be talking about the Ineos 2028 project and how Manchester United intend in navigating with this their new strategy. So guys, let's actually look at the evidence. Onana is leaving Manchester United after 2 years to Transport. Rasmus Højlund has just left Manchester United to Napoli. Antony was loaned after 2 years and he has left permanently to Real Betis. Rashford is out of the club. Malaysia is soon going to be out of the club, and a lot of players has been sold in Manchester United. 12 players actually left the first team of Manchester United last summer. 8 or 9 has already left Manchester United this summer, and 5 more players are also going to leave Manchester United by the end of next season, by the time the contract of Casemiro and the rest are going to be expired. That tells you how bad the club has been run and how badly this squad has been built over the past decade, because you're going to find out that a lot of deadwood has been sold in the first team, and there is still a lot to be taken out of the first team. So I'm going to understand the frustration of the fans about not Manchester United not signing a lot of players, about you not reinvesting in players a lot this summer. But I'm going to tell you one thing: Ineos actually have a plan, because if you look at the rebuild of Arsenal, that was how they started. They could not sell other players because the club was being built very badly over larger periods of time. So this rebuild doesn't just take 2 or 3 years. These are rebuild that takes a lot of time, probably 3 to 4 years, whereby all the deadwoods are going to be slowly taken out of the team, and then players that suit the club, players that suit the long-term vision of the club are going to be able to elevate the standards of the team. And this is what Ineos are actually doing in Manchester United. 20 players has left, probably 5 to 10 more is going to leave in the future, even those that were bought that are not going to perform within the 1 to 2 years scale that has been given to them. And one of the reasons I like this new timeline that are being given to players is because of these are going to put players on their toes. Before, when my players come to Manchester United, they feel that they're just on holidays, they are not there to work, they are not there to raise their standards, and then they just perform the way they like. But now any player coming to Manchester United know that they need 1 or probably 2 years to prove themselves, and if they could not do that, definitely they will be out of the door. So guys, if you're talking about the frustration of the fans, Probably I'm one of those fans that are frustrated, because you're going to find out that buying 5 players after having probably your worst season in decades is definitely not a way that I really like, or a process that I actually thought I was going to endure. But you're going to find out that Ineos actually have a plan. They are not just carrying out these processes intentionally. They don't want to continue the old habits and circles of buying players just to occupy space. You're going to find out that probably in the last 10 windows of Manchester United, ever since Sir Alex Ferguson left Manchester United, probably towards the ending of the window, Manchester United usually buy players just to occupy space. They don't buy these players because these players are part of the long-term plan or the short-term plan of the team. Because I know that probably a lot of players that was bought into Manchester United, they were not bought because they were bought for any project or for any specific system. These are players that were just bought just to occupy space, just to make sure that Manchester United have a lot of depth to play in the Premier League in that particular season. And this is one of the old habits that Ineos are trying to end, and this is why I understand the reason for them to sign 5 players this summer, because I strongly believe that if Ineos can be able to sit tight, close out the noise from the fans, and actually do their job, Manchester United is actually going to be great again. Definitely, I understand the frustration of the fans. I was definitely frustrated when the transfer of Brian Mbeumo was negotiated for 40 days, taking a lot of spaces in the transfer, and you're going to realize that Fabrizio Romano actually said that he's not actually surprised that Manchester United did not buy any other midfielder other than Carlos Baleba in this window. That Carlos Baleba is the topic that will be brought in 2026. That was when I actually saw the vision of Ineos, because if probably another player was bought other than Carlos Baleba, that player probably would have been a player that was occupying space and not a player that was meant to suit the long-term vision of the club. The long-term vision of the club is Carlos Baleba, and from reports coming on today, it is said that Manchester United are going to revisit the Carlos Baleba situation around January of 2026 to anticipate other clubs. That tells you that Manchester United and Ineos are actually buying players based on the long-term project of the teams, players that are going to suit the system, players that are going to play for the badge, players that are going to be up to the standards of Manchester United. And so definitely I'm up for it. If it is going to be irritating, it's going to be frustrating, it's going to be disappointing, I'm definitely looking out for this project of the Ineos team. So guys, let's actually look at the bigger picture. Manchester United are actually taking short-term pain for long-term gains. This actually tells you that Manchester United are not just taking decisions now because they want instant results. It was actually seen last season when the fans were complaining and media teams was complaining about the system of Ruben Amorim, and Ruben Amorim actually said that he preferred to suffer now and enjoy in the future. And this is the process, and this is the strategy that has been implemented by Ineos. They rather suffer now and enjoy in the future, just like Mikel Arteta and Jurgen Klopp actually rebuilded Arsenal and Liverpool all together. So I want you guys to give me your thoughts in the comment section if the Ineos team are actually taking the right steps in taking short-term losses and enjoying long-term, or they are taking a risk of selling players and not getting appropriate replacements in the transfer window. I want you guys to like, to share, to subscribe to Tactical Trafford, as we'll be making more videos about the transfer strategy of Manchester United, Omar Berrada and the Ineos team. So see you guys in my next video. Ciao.